everybody. Been a while since I made a video, but I had a company, Kyoku knives. They contacted me a few days ago and said, hey, could you do an honest review of our knives for us? So I emailed back and forth a couple times confirming what they were looking for, and they were looking for an honest review. So I thought, let me give it a shot, or let me give it a try, or however. Anyway, I've been wanting to do a Kung Pao chicken recipe for quite a long time. I really can't believe I haven't done one before. So anyway, I'm going to use their knife today, and I want to make a Kung Pao chicken recipe that'll knock your socks off. First thing, I got these plastic gloves on because one thing I have definitely learned on YouTube is that if you touch raw meat, you and everybody in your family will die. I've learned that. So anyway, because it's Kung Pao chicken, I've got some chicken. I'm using chicken breast today, but thigh works really well. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this up into chunks. I would say even, but we're going to say as even as possible. You want them to be, you want pieces that you can pick up with chopsticks. Something like that works pretty good. But you don't have to be even or perfect or anything like that. I mean, that's fine. I have 10 ounces of breast. I weighed it so I know that it is 10 ounces. Cut this. So this seems to be cutting through the chicken breast pretty easily. It's not tearing it, it's actually cutting it. It's time to marinate our chicken. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some rice cooking wine on here. Give it a stir. I got some soy sauce. Now, all the amounts and everything, if you look under the video window, you'll see something called Show More. That window, open that, click on that, open that window up, and then there will be a link to my website. And on the website, I have a printable recipe and all that good stuff. Now, this is some water. The water is going to help keep the chicken moist when it cooks. It's going to absorb. We've got some cornstarch. Cornstarch never wants to come out of here, so I always have to put a little extra in here. Okay, now you want to mix this up until you don't see any white specks. So let's make our sauce. I've got some black vinegar. Black vinegar gives you I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like balsamic, but not really quite balsamic. We've got some soy sauce. We've got some water to thin it out. And we've got some sesame oil. Now this isn't going to be really saucy, it's more like it's going to make a glaze on the chicken. Put a pinch of white pepper. Abby's walking around with her cone. Got our cornstarch. This is going to help thicken the sauce. The joys of shooting in a real house. And we'll give this a real mix. Now it's time to prep the veggies. Now for the green onion, I kind of want to separate the white part basically from here down and the green part. The white's going to go in early, and the green part will go in towards the very end. There. Now we'll cut the green. So we have some ginger. I've already peeled this. I just cut a couple of slices of ginger off, peeled it, and we're going to first julienne it, and then we're going to dice it up. We don't want to cut it up too small. About like that. So for garlic, we're going to kind of do the same thing. I want a rough chop on my garlic. So first I mash it. Give Give it a rough chop. I know it's not traditional or anything like that, but I like to put some bell pepper in mine, especially the red bell pepper. Gives it a nice color, and it's not really spicy. I'm just going to kind of dice that up. Yeah, about like that. Okay, so that finishes up with what I needed to do with the knife. Everything else from here on is basically scissors and cooking. I've been playing with this knife for a couple of days now. The one thing I really like about it is the way that it feels, and I don't feel like I'm going to cut my finger on this little piece right here. Some of my other really good knives, I always worry about kind of cutting my finger on that. For some reason, this feels a lot safer in that aspect, although I've never cut my finger the other way. Right out of the box, this knife is really sharp. I haven't sharpened this knife or anything. It seems to be pretty easy to keep clean. So from first couple of uses, I'm pretty happy with the knife. And at the price point this knife is, it's a really good deal. Anyway, they're supposed to send me a link for a discount code. I'll drop that down there in the show more. So let's get back to the recipe. Peanuts. Kung Pao chicken needs peanuts. Traditionally, you would use raw peanuts, deep fry them, and then just quickly deep fry them. I don't want to do that. I'm using dry roasted peanuts. I'm using unsalted nuts, and the reason I'm using unsalted nuts because there's a lot of other salty things that are going in there, like the soy sauce and all that. So we got plenty of salt. I'm using some Heaven Facing chilies. I do mail order these. Now, if you have a Mexican market, you can probably find chili de arbol. They're pretty close. In fact, most restaurants actually use chili de arbol. I'm going to tap some of the seeds out because those seeds are pretty fiery. I'm going to cut these up in relatively big pieces. That way anybody who doesn't want to eat them doesn't have to. Even the Chinese typically don't really eat these. They're in there just for flavoring the dish. Now I'm not taking all of the seeds out, as you can probably tell. There's a couple that are going to be in there. We're just taking most of them out because these little boys are fiery. Okay, so my wok is just beginning to smoke. So I'm going to swirl in some oil. Make sure I had a drop of water in there. Oh. All right. So now I'm going to put my chicken in here. Kind of spread it out a little bit, but I don't want to force it because when I put it in here, it's going to stick to the wok. Okay, so now it's cooking a little bit. Turn the heat up a little bit more. Flip this over, see how it released. Now this right over here is not wanting to release too easily. We can go ahead. We're going to turn our heat up all the way. We're going to put our peanuts in here. When I made this yesterday, I forgot to put the peanuts in there. Now see how that's drying out? A little more oil. The anti-oil people are going to freak out. All right, tiny bit more oil right there. We're going to put our garlic and our ginger, the white part of our green onion, our bell pepper, All right, so my peanuts are starting to get some black spots on them. Everything's looking good. We're basically ready for our sauce. And I forgot the peppers. I forgot the spicy peppers. I knew I was forgetting something. Put our green onion. All right. All right, so let's imagine I put the spicy peppers in there, okay? Got our sauce. We're going to have to give it a stir because that cornstarch settles to the bottom. Oh, wait. My wife was going to give me some peppers, but I hadn't cut them up, and the seeds were still going to be in there. I don't think you guys would like that. All right. So without the peppers, I guess it really won't have the pow, but with the flavor we got going on here, it's definitely going to have the wow. And then when the sauce gets nice and thick, then it'll be done. And I believe that's it right there. It's ready.